Yeah, we've already got 36 attendees here, so I'm also going to go live. And then if we can please stick to
Good evening, students. I just want to let you know that we are about to begin. So please just bear with us. We will be beginning shortly. There has been a link that has been posted. And if you could just complete the first 3 questions just to let us know which university you are from, if you have an internship position for 2023, and which sector you plan on working in, or you are registered, or you will register to work in. So if you could just complete the first 3 questions while we're waiting for everyone to join us. Okay, so thank you so much for attending tonight's session, and a very, very warm welcome to all of our 4th year students to this information session. And this is an information session to all 4th year students that will hopefully graduate at the end of 2022 and will be joining us in 2023 as interns. So as mentioned, as we are beginning tonight's session, please would you just let us know which university you are currently studying at? And you can also answer the next 2 questions on the same the same Microsoft form. This is just going to give us a little bit of information so that we know who's joining us tonight. So which university are you from? And if you could also let us know whether you have an internship position for 2023, and if you have a confirmed internship position, which sector is this in? So that we just know a little bit about those that are attending tonight's session. Okay, so you can complete just the first 3 questions. You don't need to continue with the rest of that survey. We will give you an opportunity at the end of this evening to complete the rest of the questions, where you will tell us and provide feedback about tonight's session. Okay, so tonight we are very lucky to have Ms. Mokoena. She is the Chief Operating Officer of the Pharmacy Council, and she's just going to take a few minutes to address the 4th year students tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, Ms. Mokoena.
Thank you, Diane, and good afternoon to the 4th year students and to the teams from South African Pharmacy Council. My name is Mojo Mokoena. I'm sure that at some stage I might have met a couple of you when you were doing your first years. And today we want to congratulate you to get to the level where you are, because this is just the beginning. If you can give me just 3 minutes, I want to share with yourself something that just happened not that long. I was privileged to attend a conference organized by the Health Profession Council of South Africa. You know, we are pharmacy council, so we talk to pharmacists. And there is nursing council. They are responsible for the nurses, exactly the work that we do. And then we have us, who are responsible for the pharmacists and any other person who's involved in the pharmaceutical service, meaning the pharmacists, pharmacy support personnel, interns, and facilities. And in that meeting, one of the topics that we discussed was the distribution of healthcare workers, and whether as a country we are ready for national health insurance or coverage. I think you heard about that. If you haven't heard about it, go read about it. That's your first question for internship. That question is there. And while we were talking about the distribution, questions were asked whether we having enough of the pharmacists, doctors, and nurses, or whether they are evenly distributed where we need them, even if we have them. And also what was coming out is most of our graduates, when they finish, then they decide, I don't think I like this. And we have already spent a lot of time training them. I think for me, it's important that people are trained. It gives you an opportunity for you to start your life and make the choices that are better, and that will take you to the next level. But also one of the things that was discussed was, do we have the right people? And it was quite touching because this was coming from the Health Profession Council, which are doctors. The attitude that we see, is that the attitude we want to see? The people that we allowed to become doctors, pharmacists, and nurses, do they really love the profession, or they just chose the profession because on the tick box, that's what was available? And that deliberation took me back to one of the discussion we always have in the office and at home, to say, you need to love what you do. You really, really need to love what you do. And you need to be the change that you want to see. I want to challenge all of you today, because you are so privileged that while you are entering the profession, the country is going through a huge change where we want to bring universal health coverage, which means everybody would have the ability to access healthcare services, regardless of whether they earn more or less, because it's in the Constitution. Everybody has a right to health, as much as everyone has the right to go to school and have a right to water and electricity. A debate for another day. While you prepare yourself for your exam and you enter the new chapter, I want you to reflect and really think hard if you really, really want to be a pharmacist, because from where I'm sitting as the CEO of Pharmacy Council, I love pharmacy. I'm a proud pharmacist, and I will defend pharmacy left and right. But I want to find out from yourself, do you really, really want to be a pharmacist out there? Something to reflect about, because it would not serve you any good to say, I'm doing my final year, I'm going to become an intern, but you're not happy about being a pharmacist. And I know these are the hard realities that we don't want to hear, but it's always good, and take it from me, choose the career because you really, really love to do that. Because from Pharmacy Council, we are waiting for the greatest mind to change this country, to make the health system the best that it can be. And it can only be there if we have people that are doing their final year and are saying, we are going to make health a success. People that are saying, we are going to take leadership roles. We know we are going to the practice side. We are going to respect the elders, our tutors, whoever RP, but our vision is better healthcare, and we will change it and we will make it a success, because this is the change we want to see. This is the caliber of people that we want to bring out there as pharmacists. With those few words, I want to begin to let you to think very, very hard about your next step. When you get into the next step, university was a phase. University was fun. Responsibilities are coming. As interns, you will be faced with a whole lot of difficult decisions. But I challenge you to make a difference. I challenge you, same as how you have seen pharmacy being in the forefront of running the vaccines, making sure that there is vaccines and quality one. I challenge you to go out there and make a difference, but you can only do that difference if you love this profession. If you open your heart and say, I am going to be the best pharmacist that they have seen. And it starts with the next session that they're going to teach you, that they're going to tell you, submit your CPD on time. Prepare yourself for the exam, because you cannot succeed on something you're not passionate about. You cannot submit on time. You cannot succeed in those exams unless you are committed and you love what you do. Those are the few words that I want to leave with you. And I'm sure the next time I communicate with yourself, that will be when we do the exams or the CPD. Me and you will be raising that flag very, very high and making sure that we do things on time, because we can only succeed if we do things on time, not on the last hour. Diane, Kamu, Madimeja, Neo, Natalie, that is the team that is going to guide you through this process. These names, remember them. You'll hear about them next year on the other side, where they will be encouraging you. And I'm hoping that when I get an email from yourself, you'll be saying, proudly, pharmacists, these are the changes that I'm making in South Africa. Not, can you please allow me to write, I'm missing 2 marks and I didn't study on time, or I'm missing these CPDs, your system crashed at 11 o'clock midnight when I was submitting, because I know that you love this profession and you're ready to do the right thing. With those few words, thank you, Tim. I'll end it there.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mokoena. Thank you very much for those words, and we thank you for joining us this evening. Okay, without any further delay, let us continue. So I had asked you to answer the first question, and I see that we've got students that have joined us from Northwest University, from TUT, from the University of KwaZulu-Natal, from the University of Limpopo, as well as University of the Witwatersrand. If you haven't yet, please would you just answer the first 3 questions? And one of those questions is this question that I've posted over here. And we'd just like to know whether you yet have a signed contract. Maybe you have an offer pending. Maybe you've been for interviews so far, or you've applied, or you haven't applied anywhere so far. So we'd like to know a little bit more about that, so that we have an idea of where you are at the moment. But please don't panic. There's still time. And please make sure that you are not only having all of your hopes and dreams set on one pharmacy to complete your internship, but that you are applying far and wide, and that you're taking the opportunity to apply across various sectors as well. So make sure that you have made ample opportunity to work in a number of different sectors. Okay, so tonight, what we're going to be going through is that we know that as a student, you may not have interacted that much with our Pharmacy Council website. So we're going to give you an overview of the information that you can find on the SAPC website and why it is important that we have your correct contact details. Then we're going to go just into an introduction about pre-registration. Then we're going to discuss registering as a pharmacist intern and then preparing for internship. So what you need to do when you're starting out as an intern on the first couple of days. So once again, thank you to all of those of you that have joined us. So just to let you know that we are recording tonight's session as well as Friday's session, and we will be posting a recording of these sessions. So if you miss out something that we have said and you'd like to listen to it again, please make sure that you do visit our YouTube and our Facebook channels so that you've got access to the recording. Also, just to note, please, that you can't raise your hand and discuss anything with us tonight. But what you are able to do is you are able to send us your questions in the chat. Right at the end, what we will do is that we will go through all those questions in the chat and we will provide answers there. So make a note of any questions that you might have so that we can answer them at the end of tonight's session. Okay. So the SAPC website is really such an important place that you need to make sure you have bookmarked on your browser, and that you visit the SAPC website really often. And it is www.pharmcouncil.co.za. We talk about there being the public pages, and then we talk about your login details. So the information that you can see without putting in your login details, that is information that is available to everyone in the public as well as the profession. And this gives us information about Pharmacy Council, about registered persons, registered organizations, and then it also gives a chance for members of the public to write or to make comments to Pharmacy Council. So make sure that you are familiar with the content on this website, and we're going to go into this in greater detail coming up. Okay, so now when I say that you are going to log on, this is to your page. And what you will find here is the information that relates to you as a registered person of the South African Pharmacy Council. So to log in, you go www.sapc.za.org and you press any login at the top here. Okay. When you log in, it is going to ask you for your P number, your ID number, and your password. Okay, so your P number is the number that you would have got when you registered with us as a pharmacy student, and that will be your P number forever. Your ID number, your password, if you have forgotten your password, you may request a password. And I really need for all of you to check that you can log into the South African Pharmacy Council, and please do this within the next couple of days. If you can't log in, we need to try and help you before you get to the point of registration as an intern, because we need to make sure that you can access these pages. So please make a note that you need to ensure that you can have found your P number if you don't know it, and that you can enter your P number, your ID number, and password to log into the website. So this is what it's going to look on the landing page. The first thing is that part of our function as the regulator is that we need to make sure that we have always got your up-to-date communication details. So we need to make sure that we've got your telecommunication details as well as your address. So this is really important. Now, the way that you update your information, so this is as soon as you come onto the website, this is where this is the first page that you will see. And you need to make sure that the cell phone number here is the cell phone number that is correct. Now, we know that you might have changed numbers over the period of time since registration, but we send you information on your cell phone number. So as soon as you register as an intern, you would get an SMS confirming this. Please also make sure that we have your email address. And another thing to note is that a lot of universities do not allow you to access your university email address after graduation, or sometimes it is cut off a couple of months after graduation. So we suggest that you change this to your personal email address. Perhaps you've got a Gmail address, but just to make sure that we can contact you on an email address that you will have access to. So just once again, to reiterate, you will receive notification from SAPC via SMS and email, and it is your responsibility to ensure that we have the correct information. Okay, so once your profile details have been updated or accepted, you can change your password on the registration tab. Okay, so if you go over here under registration, you would be able to update your profile, your password. So over here, you would be able to click on My Profile, and you would then be able to click here to view your information. So that's if you don't change it on that landing page. There is a possibility, or there is the opportunity to log in once you're on this page to update your details once again. This over here, and if you have a look at this, when we say, so this is the page afterwards, and this is like a dashboard, and it gives you access to multiple different areas. So this over here, it gives you access to applications. This is your application history pending, update your details, etc. Over here at the top, we talk about customer service, CPD, education, finance, legal, practice. So these are the tabs at the top, and these are the different areas here. So just to be aware that you need to be able to navigate. So go onto the website, open up the different tabs so that you are aware and familiar with which pages you have access to. Okay, so let's now just start with pharmacy internship. And the pharmacy internship, the objectives of the pre-registration year is to provide pharmacist interns with the opportunity to integrate all that you have been taught, so all the knowledge that you have gained over the 4 years at university, and be able to apply that within the pharmacy workspace to acquire the knowledge, the attitudes, and professional attributes essential for the development of a competent pharmacist. So at the moment you've been a student, but now you need to take the next step in developing yourself into a competent pharmacist. To ensure that all pharmacists entering the profession are competent and to practice in all sectors. So although you are going to practice next year as an intern in one sector, you will in the pre-registration examination write a generalist paper that covers all different sectors. Because remember, after you register as a pharmacist, you are free to practice in whichever sector you would like to practice in. So that's just a bit of background into internship. So it really is to give you an opportunity to take all this information that you have learned and now apply that within the workspace. Okay, so the pre-registration experience, and this just has a look at the various sectors that you can register in. You can register in the community or in the institutional sector. So we call it institutional hospital pharmacy. And within this, we have either got public and private facilities. You can also complete your internship in the manufacturing sector and the academic sector. And just to note that the manufacturing and academic sectors have certain additional practice requirements to ensure that you do have that patient contact within your internship year. Okay, so just to note the various sectors, and what you should make note of over here is that you cannot complete your internship at present at a wholesale facility. Okay, so you would not be able to complete your internship at a wholesale facility. Okay, so the process to follow in registering as an intern. The first thing that you need to do is you need to find a position as an intern. You need to apply for internship positions during your final year of study. And remember, we did say that you may not get your pharmacy of choice. So make sure that you have applied across multiple sectors, and even within each sector, apply to more than one place. You also need to check that the pharmacy that you have applied to is registered for training. Now, you are only allowed to work as an intern at a grade A or a grade B pharmacy that has been approved for training. They would have submitted an application to the SAPC, and based on the grade that they received at their monitoring inspection, they would then be approved for training. So please make sure that when you are inquiring about your internship, that you do check that the facility is approved for training. You then need to complete your online application. So that means that everything that you're going to submit is online. Ensure that you have all the required documents scanned and ready to be uploaded when you apply. The website will prompt you in terms of what documents you need to apply, and your results will be sent through by the university once finalized. So as soon and we know that universities normally send us the results from about the 20th of December onwards. And this is when all the results have then been verified so that you can register as an intern. So we do realize that this does cause a little bit of a delay, and we are aware of this, and we do work towards ensuring that all the applications are processed in time. You can only start your internship when you're registered as a pharmacy intern and have received your certificate, and your certificate will be available online once your application is processed. Okay, so this is just a diagram in terms of the process that you need to follow. You would log into the SAPC website, you would choose intern application. You need to ensure that you've got proof of payment, either a deposit or a credit card. And then you would be able to select the pharmacy, your tutor, and the start date. The website won't allow you to select a pharmacy that is not approved for training, and it won't allow you to select a tutor that isn't available for you to select as a tutor. So it won't allow you to do that. So for example, if the training has expired and the tutor's application has expired, it won't allow you to select the Y number and the P number of that tutor. So just for information, we do have those checks and balances in place as well. You need to upload the documentary evidence, and you need to complete the declaration. Okay. The system then sends a notification to your tutor, and it prompts the tutor then to either accept or decline. So if the tutor rejects, then that is the end of the process. If they accept, then what happens is that the system would send the intern a notification, and we would then be able to process that application. So there are various steps in in the process to ensure that you have correctly selected the facility and the P number, and that that facility has accepted and that tutor has accepted you as an intern. So just to make you aware of that as well. Okay, so remember we said that you've entered in, you've gone onto the SAPC website and you've pressed login, you've entered in your P number, your password, and your ID number. You have then updated your contact details if you need to. You would then go to this tab. Remember before we were talking about updating and we're talking about this block over here. What you are now going to be going to over here is you're going to be looking at the application. So it's within this block at the top here. Graduates may only register for internship on the SAPC Secure website. Students with outstanding fees must settle their account to gain access to the online intern application. And please make sure that if there is a problem in terms of finance, that you would contact the SAPC so that payment arrangements can be made. So please don't wait. Rather contact us as soon as possible so that arrangements can be made. The online application is available under customer service under the page application. Okay, so just to make you aware that this is where the application process starts. Okay, so let's just talk more about the application and what documents are required. So the application is actually defined in Chapter 3 and the regulations relating to the registration of persons and the maintenance of registers. So we have a register of pharmacy interns. So once you have completed your 4 years of study, we then say that you are a graduate, and you, as soon as you register as an intern, your name moves from the student register to the intern register. When you have completed the requirements for internship, we would then move your name from internship, and when you register as a community service pharmacist, we move it along. So these are registers of persons. So you must have passed your final year of study, and remember the South African Pharmacy Council would have received your results from the university. So we can't process your application until we have received confirmation from the university. Your SAPC account must be up to date, or you must have contacted the SAPC to make payment arrangements. The pharmacy premises and tutor must be approved, so approval can be confirmed on the website. I just want to show you, just give me 1 second over here. I just want to show you how you would be able to do that. So you would be able to choose, and you would be able to check information over here. You'd be able to look at registered organizations. If you go to pharmacies, you would be able to search here using the Y number. Okay, you'd be able to search here using the Y number, just as you would also be able to search for persons here using their P number. So you'd be able to select the province, and then you would have to type in the Y number or the P number. Okay. So the tutor can only have capacity for 1 intern at a time. So it's 1 tutor to 1 intern. There is tutor delegation, and there are specific conditions that apply as well, but 1 supervising pharmacist to 1 intern. So please be aware of that, and also ensure that the tutor that you intend registering with hasn't currently got an intern which they are supervising, or that intern would be finished by the time you would register as an intern. Okay, so you need to complete the online application form and upload a completed and signed SAPC 2023 contract for practical training. Currently, if you go to the SAPC website, you will find the 2022 contract. This will be updated to the 2023 contract in the next month, most likely, and you would need to complete that. And the contract contains all the information. The contract is the legally binding document between you and your tutor to conduct your training at that facility. And it will ask for your Y number, for your P number, your name and your surname, as well as your tutor's names and surnames, the facility. And then it goes through everything, the leave that you're allowed to, the conditions of employment, etc., etc. So please make sure that you are reading that contract and that you have gone through that contract word for word so that you understand what you are signing. Okay. In addition, academic interns, they must upload proof of registration. Now, an academic intern is going to register at a provider so a provider being one of the academic institutions that offer the BPharm degree. So you would be able to register, for example, at UKZN for a master's program as an academic intern. You wouldn't be able to register, for example, at the University of Cape Town because they don't offer the pharmacy qualification. So you would have to register for a Master of Pharmacy at a provider that has been approved by the South African Pharmacy Council. Okay, so it must be a department, school, or university approved by council to offer the BPharm qualification. The particulars of the proposed study, postgraduate, or research to be undertaken, this has to be uploaded on the SAPC website within 6 months of registration. So in the past, interns were required to submit this to the SAPC. However, once you have been registered as an intern, an academic intern would then be able to upload, and normally this is the equivalent of a protocol, and you would be able to upload the protocol on your secure website so that we can then see that and assess that. So as soon as you have uploaded that document, it creates a case number on our side. We would go to that and we would check that so we would check things like that it corresponds to the university, and that if it has a cover page, that it's the right qualification, etc., etc. So that's what we're looking for in terms of the protocol, is to ensure that you so we don't look at perhaps we don't comment on the content of the study, but what we are really having a look at is that you have commenced an academic internship and you have commenced a master's program. So for foreign citizens, you must upload an endorsement letter from the National Department of Health stating that you can do an internship in South Africa, as well as a study permit, and you need to pay the applicable fees. Now, these fees, the 2022 registration fee is 2,575, and the annual fee is 616 Rand. Please note that these are currently the 2022 fees, and Council has not yet approved the 2023 fees. So we can't yet provide the fee for which it will be in 2023, but please make sure that you are visiting our website and the board notices. Let me just show you where you would find that. So you would once again go to the website over here. On the public pages, if you click on the documents over here, go to legislation, board notices, and over here, you see here, these are the fees payable to SAPC for 2022. As soon as the board notice for the fees is published, it will be listed here under board notices. Okay, so just to give you an indication of where you would find that information. Okay, so in terms of your application, we need to receive a full application before you commence your internship. So you can't commence your internship on the 1st of January and then submit your application to us on the 10th of January and say that your start date was the 1st of January. On our side, you have only commenced your internship on the 10th of January when we have received all of your documents. So no backdating of applications after the intended start date, and the date of registration with Council is future dated or dated according to the date of receipt of the complete application. So for example, if you have not provided proof of payment, then we won't be able to process your application until we have received that. Or if we have not received the contract, or only you signed the contract and your tutor didn't sign the contract, we would send that document back to you, and we can only make the date of commencement of your internship according to the date that we received the last documents. If you have submitted everything on time, it would be according to the registration date. Either it would be future dated according to your contract, or it would be according to the date of receiving the complete application. Okay, applications submitted after the 20th of December 2022 will only be processed in January 2023. So please make sure that we do receive your application as soon as possible, that you're submitting a complete application. It's not that we don't work after the 20th of December 2022. I assure you that we are working on registrations throughout the whole of December, but you need to please make sure that you have submitted your documents to us timelessly and that you have submitted all the required documents. Okay, just some additional information. Remember, I did say that that academic and manufacturing interns are slightly different. So those that are registering in the manufacturing or academic sectors, they are required to complete 400 hours in a community or hospital pharmacy. So please note, the 400 hours, if you're manufacturing or academic interns, has got to be completed in a community or hospital pharmacy. At an approved pharmacy, that means that it has been approved for training. The tutor, so your original tutor, remains responsible for your training. However, you will be working under the supervision of a pharmacist while in the community or hospital pharmacy. Arrangements must be kept prior to the work period, so you can't just arrive at a facility and expect to be accommodated. Please make sure that you have contacted them and that they can accommodate you at that time. Please make sure that you are keeping records and that periods of only 5 consecutive days qualify. So what this means is that you cannot work a day here and a day there. You can't work Monday night and that would be kept. It's 5 consecutive days. So you can work the weekend, but you would also then need to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it has to be a period of 5 consecutive days in order for that to count towards your 400 hours. Please note as well that the scope of practice of a pharmacist intern is the same as a pharmacist, except under the supervision of an approved tutor, and it is the direct supervision of an approved pharmacist. So just to keep that in mind, I'm sure that you are all well aware of what you can and can't do, and make sure that you are working always under the direct supervision of your tutor. Okay, so it's really important, as Ms. Mokoena was saying earlier, it's very important that you are preparing for next year. And we know that you have spent a long time at university and you might be quite tired, but I do ask that during the December break that you are ensuring that all of this information is updated. So the first thing is that you need to update the photo of your profile. What this is, I just want to, I think I have a picture over there. Okay, so it's coming up. So to update your photo on your profile, so we need a photo. It has to be a color photo. It should be of your head and shoulders and against a background that is not too busy. So if you're against a very, very busy background, then we can't see you. So it doesn't have to be a professional photo, but preferably against a background that is rather neutral so that we can see you. And we use this during the pre-registration examination to verify that you are the candidate, because we verify you and we look at pictures that are taken during the examination to ensure that the right person who is registered is writing the examination. So please take the time to update your profile picture in the holidays. The next thing that you can do is you can complete your annual declaration. This is once you have registered as an intern. And then please make sure that you are going to review the information on the SAPC website, as well as read the intern tutor manual. We're going to go through what information we expect you to review, but it's very important that you would take the time to go through all of this information, because unfortunately, we cannot change the rules and regulations that govern internship if you haven't read the rules and regulations. So it is too late when an intern says, but I didn't know that those were the criteria for the exam, and they miss out on the opportunity to write the upcoming exam. So it's very important that you take the opportunity to go through all the information that is available. And if you are uncertain, You would ask questions to the responsible pharmacist, your tutor. If they are unable to help you, please would you come to the South African Pharmacy Council. You can send us a query on our website, or you can always phone our customer care line as well. Okay, so when I say, so as you log in as an intern, now remember, the page looks slightly different when you are a student compared to when you are an intern. And the difference is that when you are an intern, you have a navigating bar down here, whereas the students had a bar at the top here. So over here you have that, I know that this is rather small, but you have dashboard, annual declaration, CPD, then it says, manuals, and then it's my progress and logout. So this is how you navigate. And then what I'm talking about here in terms of updating your profile picture, you would then have opened up this little drop down green arrow over here, or turquoise arrow, and over here you would be able to choose a file. Okay, the rest of the information, there's certain information here that you would not be able to change. So for example, you can't change your P number, you can't change your ID number, you can't change your surname. For everything else, you wouldn't be able to change as the registered person. You would only, the Pharmacy Council can only update this information. What you are able to change, however, is your profile picture. So please, for the purposes of the pre-registration examination, please make sure that you have updated your photo. Okay, so when we talked about the annual declaration, now the annual declaration is you declaring that you are practicing. Okay, and you cannot start with any of your CPD submissions until you complete your annual declaration. It asks you to complete these 4 tabs. The first one is employment, practice profile, competency standards, and then it gives a history. So please make sure that you have gone through this and that you have submitted your annual declaration. And once you have done that, you would then be able to access the CPD pages. Okay. So in terms of, so the first task was to update your photo. The second task was, once you are registered as an intern, is to complete the annual declaration. The third task is to make sure that you have gone through all of the information. So in terms of navigating the website, and remember we talked about the page that we would get the public pages. So I'm now talking about the public pages. This is the information that is available to the public as well as to the profession. Okay. So under registered persons, you would then be able to click on pharmacist intern. And what it then brings up is it brings up this bar over here. It gives an overview, a scope of practice. It talks about the internship, the manual, CPD, pre-registration examinations. It then has an application tab with all of the possible applications that you would need to submit as an intern. It also gives the fees payable. You can log in from this part of the website as well. You can search, and remember over here, searching means that you would be able to search the register. This is for Y numbers or P numbers or provider numbers, etc. If you click on the manual, you would then be able to click here to access the intern tutor manual. This intern tutor manual will be updated to reflect the 2023 manual. Okay, so please make sure that you do choose the 2023 manual. And I really ask that you take the opportunity to read that manual from the first page to the last page. If you are a person that needs to print things out, print out the manual. You can use highlighters, you can color code, whatever you need to do to make sure that you have thoroughly gone through all of that information. It is very, very important that you have read this information, because unfortunately, you may miss information. Perhaps when we provided the workshop, you missed the sentence that we said about the CPD submission dates. All of this information that we tell you in these workshops is also contained within the manual. So you really do need to read it cover to cover. And please make sure that you do visit the website in January. So the 2023 manual will be available online. Okay. So in terms of your internship, we assess interns. So the first thing you need to do is to find an intern, to find a tutor and to find a pharmacy. But then part of that is that you are working under the supervision. However, there are 3 evaluations that you need to go through. One is the pre-registration examination. The second is your CPD portfolio. And the last part is progress reports. And all of this has to be done under a minimum, and I'm going to stress the word minimum, of 365 days of supervised practice. So if you have completed all of these requirements within 365 days, you will be released to practice as a community service pharmacist. If you haven't, you will then remain on the register of interns until you meet these requirements. Okay. The pre-registration examination is written, and this is a 120 question examination. It is 1 mark. There is no negative marking, and we have general practice, so it's 70%, which comprises of 80 questions, calculations, which is 30%, and that's 40 questions. The pass mark for general questions is 50%, and the pass mark for calculations is 60%. So that is what the pre-registration examination is. The pre-registration examination is normally held in the first week of March. It is then held at the end of July, beginning of August is the second one, and then the last one is held in October. So there are 3 examinations that are held annually. The dates of these examinations will be published on the website, and there are specific criteria that you need to meet before you can write the pre-registration examination. So, for example, you are only able to write the pre-registration examination if you are in your 6th month, which means that you must have completed 5 months, you must be competent in 3 CPDs, and you must have submitted all 6 CPDs, and your tutor must have submitted the prerequisite number of progress reports. If you are in your 9th month of internship, that changes. You must be competent in 6 CPDs, and you must have submitted 4 progress reports. So these criteria will be communicated to you ahead of the exam, but the exam is linked to your CPDs. So the CPDs is very, very important to get started on really on day 1. Okay, so we've got 6 CPDs, and this is 1 outcome per domain. There are 6 domains, and you need to submit 1 CPD entry per domain. The results, so the CPD unit will provide information on the website. They will give you what date the CPD needs to be submitted and when it will be released. So they provide all of this information. So they give you a date of submission and the release date. Please take note of those dates, because those are the dates that you need to work towards in terms of whether you are going to be able to write the pre-registration examination. So we really do ask that you start on day 1 with your CPDs. We're not asking you to submit your CPDs from day 1, but we would expect that you have read through the domains and the competency standards, and that you have almost worked out where there are gaps and what you would actually be able to use towards the competency standard. So we need you to really have a look at that. We need you to look at those behavioral statements and start thinking about how you would be able to prove that you are competent at this. So there are various, and I know that a lot of universities work towards assisting interns, and you often have activities that you need to submit as students. And we encourage you to start looking at your CPDs on day 1 of your internship. Okay, so the progress reports that you need to submit, if you're an institutional community, this will be 7 progress reports. Manufacturing, this is 9 progress reports, as well as a declaration of 400 hours. Academia is 3 progress reports, declaration of hours, as well as achievement of your master's qualification. You also need to submit proof of competence. Proof of competence means that you would have had favorable progress reports from your tutor. Okay, so the progress reports are submitted online by your tutor. However, academic interns are responsible for the online submission of their protocol as well as their achieved degree. And I just want to stress this once again, is that as an academic intern, you would only be able to to complete your internship once you have achieved your master's degree. So this means that the university has said your master's has been accepted, that you will be graduating on XYZ date. It is not when you submit your thesis for assessment. It is not when your tutor, when your master supervisor says that you have completed all of the work. It is when the university says that you have achieved your qualification. And we will go through next year what type of evidence we would expect in terms of achievement of your master's qualification. But we would like to just stress this right at the beginning so that you are working towards this from day one. Okay, so in terms of CPDs, we would really like to stress, and I think Miss McQueen said the same things, don't be left behind. Start preparing for your CPDs from day one of your internship. The first thing that you can do is you can complete the annual declaration. You must read through the intern tutor manual. Familiarize yourself with the domains and competencies. Think about your daily practice and collect information as you identify your learning needs. There is a big difference between someone who has looked at the competency standards and has worked towards it, comparing to someone who has picked up something and then try to go back and collect the evidence. So you can really work towards this from day one, and it will definitely show within the submission that you make. So start thinking about it from day one. Identify your domains and your competencies and work towards that, collecting all of the evidence that you need. Start recording your submissions, but please only submit once you have attended the workshop in February. In February, the assessors and moderators of the CPDs hold a workshop, and they give a lot of information about what they expect from reflection, from planning, from implementation. All of those headings that you see there, all of the descriptions that you are to provide, they give all of that information and they say, this is what we require from you as an intern in these different areas. And please listen very carefully. But we do suggest that you start working towards that and that you can start recording, just don't submit. You can change your CPD entry. You can delete the evidence that you have already loaded, and you can change the paragraphs that you have written. But at least if you've already become familiar with what the descriptions are, I think you will benefit very much from a workshop that is then held in February. Okay, so you will be hearing from us quite a lot next year. So the first workshop that we will be holding is on CPDs, and this is held normally in February. We do have one or two workshops in March, normally for those that registered late. We normally hold the pre-registration examination workshops in the month of May. How you will hear about these workshops is that you will receive an SMS to say the workshops are now open. Please book for the workshop. Okay, you are required, it is compulsory for you to attend these workshops, and your attendance is recorded. Interns and tutors are required to register for these workshops so that we know who is planning on attending. And the updated intern tutor manual is updated on the website in early January every year. So please make sure that you are also going to have a look at the information here before you attend these workshops. And if you have any questions, you can always ask the facilitators of these workshops the questions that you have. Okay, I just want to touch a little bit on session of contract. So a session of contract is when you are unable to complete your internship either at the facility or under the tutor. So an internship contract, so the intern tutor contract that I discussed earlier that you would sign, and remember this is between you and your tutor and it relates to a specific premises. So on mutual agreement between the intern and the tutor, you may cede this contract. And what this means is that you can then be able to select a new tutor and or premises. remember that that person that you are wanting to cede the contract to has got to be a tutor, as well as the premises needs to be approved for training. So perhaps you start your internship in Cape Town, and for some or other reason, you need to move to George. Um, there, there is the possibility then that you would be able to move your internship from the pharmacy in Cape Town to another pharmacy in George. However, you need to go through the whole process again, except here you do not complete an internship application because you're already an intern. You would submit a session of contract application. So the required application form must be submitted to Pharmacy Council 7 days before the session date. So you can't just stop at one pharmacy and start at the next one. You need to inform Pharmacy Council 7 days before stopping that, or 7 days before it happens. We do understand that sometimes things happen that you can't foresee happening, but please note that you will only be approved for training, and you must wait until Pharmacy Council has given you the go-ahead and that you have submitted that session of contract application. If we do not receive it on time, your internship can be prolonged because the dates between stopping at one pharmacy and starting at the next won't be counting. So just be aware of that, please, that we do have session of contract applications. And if you need to stop with one pharmacy or one tutor, you may then apply to work at another pharmacy under the supervision of another pharmacist, but you need to complete the session of contract. Okay, so I know that we are aware that perhaps there are interns that do not find an internship position. Perhaps there are interns that decide to delay the internship, or we even have interns that do not intend registering as an intern. And this diagram is just going to give us an overview of that. So you have a BPharm graduate here at the top, and you have three possibilities. You can either register as an intern to work as an intern. You may apply to the register to work as a post-basic. So remember, after you graduate as a fourth year, so once you graduate and you are no longer a student, you no longer can access the scope of practice of a pharmacy student. So you cannot automatically work as a post-basic. You need to apply to the register, to the registrar, to work as a post-basic. And this basically falls into three categories. You either can't find employment, you wish to delay your internship, or you do not intend working or registering as an intern. And all of these, there are specific types of evidence that we require, but we have made provision for a BPharm graduate to apply to work as a post-basic under these three categories. You can also decide not to apply for anything. You would remain on the student register for 6 months, and after that, you would need to, so after that, you'd be taken off the register, and then you need to apply for restoration. And you would need to apply for, and then you would need to comply with the restoration criteria at the date of restoration. So in time, perhaps restoration criteria may change, and you would need to comply with that restoration criteria when you then are an, or when you then intend on registering as an intern. Okay, so there are these various scenarios, and we know that this does exist, and this is just background information. So please, the take-home message, though, is that once you are a BPharm graduate, you can no longer work as a post-basic pharmacist assistant. You can no longer access that scope. You have three opportunities. You can either register as an intern, you can apply to the registrar to work or to access the scope of a post-basic pharmacist assistant, or if we don't receive any application, we will remove your name from the student register. You may, however, apply to be restored. So in terms of the information, if you cannot find employment as an intern, you need to submit proof of the declined employment applications. So this is an online application. So you do submit this online. You need to make sure that you are submitting proof that you have applied at various places and that you have been declined. If you would like to delay progression and registration, so here These are people that intend to return to the register, but perhaps for some reason they are deciding to perhaps take a gap year and they would like to access the scope of a post-basic. You need to provide reasons to the registrar. For example, you would like to pursue further studies or for personal reasons. Perhaps there's also the scenario that you do not intend registering as an intern. Perhaps you have decided to leave the profession, or you would like to pursue further studies in another field or for personal reasons. You, however, can still apply to the registrar to work as a post-basic, but without the intention to return to the register as an intern. Okay. These sometimes I know that you may have questions regarding this, so please contact the Office of the Registrar for further information. However, all of these are online applications. When you get to the landing process, so when you say apply for internship and you click on that application, what you will see straight away is that it will give you the opportunity to click here to continue to register as an intern, or it will say click here to register as a post-basic. Okay, so just to let you know. Okay, we do realize that you may have more questions. Please make sure that you do contact the South African Pharmacy Council, and you can call us, you can come and visit us, but the best way to contact us is through send a request. What you do is that you would then, so you would click on here, send a request, and it would then open up the departments, and you would be able to click on one of these departments below. You need to provide us with your first name, your P number, as well as a contact number, and then you would write your question in the comment box below. This, as soon as we receive this, a case number is generated, and we do follow up to ensure that all of these queries are attended to. So please make sure that you do contact us, and as mentioned, the best way is through send a request. Okay. Do you have any questions? I see there is one question. Oh, there might be a few questions in the chat box. And I'm just going to ask Natalie. Natalie, are you able to just read them out for me so that I don't miss any, please?
Not a problem, Deanne. Okay, the first question, I know that we are allowed to postpone our internship for a few years. I have decided to study another course for a year and thus not begin with my internship in 2023, but rather in 2024. I want to know who I can contact to ensure that the SAPC will know that I want to postpone my internship for a year and that I will not apply for an internship in 2023. I did email the SAPC about this, but have not received a response. Can you please refer me to someone who can assist me with this?
Okay, so as mentioned, and I think you would fit into this category over here. If you are a BPharm graduate and you would like to delay your internship can be delayed for a maximum of 5 years. And if you apply to the registrar, you will be able to access the scope of practice of a post-basic pharmacist assistant. And you would have to write a letter to the registrar explaining why you would like to delay your internship, so that we are aware of it. You, however, if you don't intend working as a post-basic pharmacist assistant and you do not need to access any scope, if we don't receive any application, you would remain on the student register for 6 months, after which your name would be removed, and then you need to apply for restoration. So there are 2 scenarios here. Either you would need to work as a post-basic pharmacist assistant, or if we don't receive any application, your name would be removed. However, you can apply for restoration. Thanks, Natalie.
Okay, good afternoon, ma'am. Can we do our application before the university has released our results? Because you said they usually only start sending them through to you around 20th of December. But then at the same time, if we only start our application on 20 December or after, it will only be processed in January.
Okay, so what we would need from the interns is that we would need for you to submit to us a signed contract between, and remember, this is not the contract that you might get from the employer. This is a South African Pharmacy Council contract. that you can get from our website, and I'll show you where to find that just in case. So it is that contract. You would need to then submit as well proof of payment. And if you have submitted, we would also like for you to submit your academic record if you have it, but we would always wait until the university submits the verified results to us. So as soon as we have all of the supporting information and those documents, you can submit to us straight away. But we would only be able to process your application once we have received confirmation from the university in terms of which persons have graduated. So yes, please apply before the 20th of December, but please note that we would only be able to process your application once we have heard from your university.
Okay, after completing the degree, if the following year you aren't doing the internship, will you still pay any fees? If yes, which fees will you be paying? Student fees, although you are not schooling, or pharmacist intern fees, although you haven't started with your internship?
Okay, again, so the post-basic application that here, so you would have two options. You can either apply to work or to access the scope of practice of a post-basic pharmacist assistant. If we do not receive any application, then you would be removed from the register. So please note that there are those two scenarios. If you are removed from the register, you won't have to pay any fees. However, when you apply for registration, then there would be an applicable fee. If you decide to register as a post-basic in the interim while delaying your internship, then there is a registration and annual fee that is applicable.
Is there a way we can find possible internship positions on the SAPC website?
Okay, so Pharmacy Council is working with various stakeholders to try and facilitate placements and to see what the possibility of opening up. We do have a page that if we receive any applications or any notifications, we do post them there. Currently, I do not think that we have received any placements or any adverts. I have, however, seen that there are quite a few on LinkedIn that have been submitted or published on the LinkedIn profile. So make sure that you are having a look across various sites, and that you do even contact groups directly if you plan on working for a group, or perhaps contact and go in and maybe speak to a responsible pharmacist or the owner if you are looking at working at an independent pharmacy. But please, I think we need to be proactive in terms of finding a position. And unfortunately, we do have that facility on our website, but we haven't received many adverts to post there from the stakeholders.
Do any documents uploaded need to be certified by the police?
Okay, so do they need to be certified? Correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Malako, but I don't think any of them are required. You are required to provide a certified copy of your pharmacy degree, but that is for community service. Are there any certified documents?
Yes, thanks, Diane. Yes, they would need to provide a certified copy of their ID as well, or passport if they are non-South African citizens. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, so just your ID document and your passport would need to be certified.
Okay, for an academic intern doing their master's next year, since our tutor is our master's supervisor at uni, when selecting tutor on the contract, we would need to complete on the SAPC website the contract for the practical training of a pharmacist. Do we choose our university or supervisor's name? I assume we also upload this contract even though we are an academic intern.
Yes, so even academic interns need to complete the intern tutor contract, and you would then, the pharmacy is then the university, because the university is an approved provider and they are approved and they actually do get an approval status from Pharmacy Council. So there you would enter in the university details, and the tutor is then the person who is supervising, well, who is the registered tutor. And just on that note, there is a provision for academic tutors to take on 5 interns. where normally the ratio is 1-to-1. Academic tutors may take on 5 interns at a time.
If you have paid your SAPC fees, but it still reflects as not paid on your profile, although you've sent proof of payment, what is the next step?
Okay, so please would you contact us? And you can contact the finance department. I don't know who you've sent the query to, but that can be easily resolved, and we would be able to then find that payment. Please always remember that as soon as you're making payments to the South African Pharmacy Council, is that you must provide your P number so that they can connect it to the correct account. But that can easily be remedied. Please would you send a query via send a request page.
If you haven't started with the internship yet, will it penalize you later on when you're ready to start your internship? And let's say you're supposed to do your internship in 2022, and for any reason you are unable to do it in 2022, and you manage to start in 2023, will the year that you have lost, well, after the duration of your completing your internship and community service? What I mean is, if you're supposed to start your internship in 2022, it means that in 2024, you are supposed to finish with internship and community service. You have more or less 2 to 3 years to complete everything. So what I want to know is, if you can't start in 2022 and you start in 2023, will you still have 2 to 3 years to complete both internship and community service?
Yes, most definitely. You have a year to complete your internship. We do not stipulate the time that you need to complete your internship after graduation. So please just note that as well, is that you do not need to start the year after, and that you are able to have then taken a gap year and then return. But please note that there are restoration criteria that may change in time. So if you decide to take a 10-year gap, the restoration criteria may have changed within that time period. So just please be aware that you're always checking that. But if you've missed out 2022 and you intend registering in 2023, please don't worry. Please go ahead with your registration. And then after you have completed your internship, you will be allowed to start with community service.
Good day. I was just wondering about the following. I frequently update my details on the SAPC website, but every time I return, it says I have to update the details again. Thus, it never gets saved. Is there a way I can fix this?
Okay, so every time that you log in, that page would come up to say, please confirm that your details are correct. So please would you check that if you've changed your details, they are correctly reflecting on that page. Okay, so that landing page would always come up as a prompt in case you've changed your cell phone number or address since the last time you logged on. It will always come up as the first page. If it's not saving, please would you contact us and we can put you in contact with the IT department. You can also send a request to IT and they will be able to assist you.
If one delays the internship, will one have to catch up fees for every year not registered to remain on the register?
So you would have to apply for restoration, and there would be a restoration criteria that are associated with that, but not that I'm aware of. If I'm incorrect, Kamal, please would you let me know?
No, you're quite correct, Dean. It will be the restoration fee that they would need to pay, as well as the registration and the annual fee at the time of paying the annual fee. Thanks.
After you have decided to work as a post-basic, is it possible to apply to go back to practicing as a pharmacist?
Yes, remember here you are applying to work as a post-basic in the interim and intend then returning to internship. And there is a maximum here. So this could be so it's granted every 6 months and it is for a maximum of 5 years. Granted for 12 months, maximum of 5 years. So please would you note these specific maximum period as well. So you won't be able to register indefinitely as a post-basic. It is an interim. So for example, if you cannot find employment, we would ask that you continually update us in terms of your progress regarding finding employment. So this is an interim measure. It is not intended to be long term. We would like for you to complete your internship, and then once you have completed that, to register as a CSP.
As an academic intern who is planning on taking 2 years to complete their master's, is applying as an intern in January 2023 sufficient? Would we have to register again as an intern in 2024?
Okay, so yes, you are expected to register as soon as you commence at the university and are completing tasks relating to academic internship. We expect you to register as an academic intern. Yes, you would have to apply. Remember, you don't have to pay your registration fee in the subsequent year, but you would have to pay your annual fee. And remember that as well, is that you don't have a scope of practice from the time you graduate until the time you register as an intern. So that's also very, very important, that sometimes people do not register, or graduates do not register with Pharmacy Council, but they still locum in the pharmacy over the weekend. And they actually are not allowed to locum as a pharmacy because they don't have any scope of practice. They cannot access any scope of practice until they've registered as an intern. So please just be very well aware of that as well, is that as soon as you start at an academic institution, you don't have to submit your protocol, but remember, 6 months after registering as an academic intern, we would expect you to submit your protocol. But we do need you to register as an academic intern with us as soon as you commence at the academic institution.
Does one need to register as an intern when doing the registration for 400 hours? So 2 internship registrations, for example, manufacturing and hospital.
Oh, no, you definitely don't have to register twice. You would register as a manufacturing intern. So you are completing your internship in manufacturing. And one of the additional criteria is that you need to complete 400 hours. You are then needing to complete those 400 hours at a facility approved for training in either at the community or hospital sector. But you don't register twice. You register once, and you need to provide additional documentation or evidence that you have completed those hours.
Can you locum on weekends at a different facility from which you are doing your internship as a post-basic assistant? Does this mean we will need to have a dual registration as an intern and a post-basic assistant?
You are allowed to locum as a pharmacist intern. And for those, yes, you would be able to access. Remember, you can only access the scope of practice of a pharmacist when you are working towards and under the direct supervision and at the facility. But you are able to locum at a second facility.
How do I update my annual declaration?
Okay, so your annual declaration, remember I showed you that your page changes slightly when you register as a pharmacist. So your page is going to look somewhat like this. When you log on, it's going to give you a dashboard over here with multiple different blocks. And if you go on the navigation, the blue bar over here, and you click on annual declaration, you would then be able to then go through these tabs, which is the annual declaration. So go to the blue navigation bar, click on annual declaration, move across, and then you would be able to then complete all of this information, and that is your annual declaration.
Okay, Deanne, before we get to the last few questions, we have posted the link to the survey again. If all the students attending can please click on the link in the Q&A section or in the comment section on our social media channels and complete it, as it does become, it's your proof of attendance. Okay. Deanne, have you found that the amounts of internships are sufficient for the amounts of graduates produced every year?
So Pharmacy Council is aware that there have been times when when there haven't been sufficient placements or when interns have said that they cannot find internship placements. And that is why we did allow for an intern to access the scope of practice of a post-basic as an interim measure in awaiting for an internship position. What we also find is that sometimes interns do not want to work in a specific sector and that they are waiting for a position in another sector or at another facility. So sometimes it also depends on the intern whether they would like to work at that specific facility or if they are willing to relocate to where there is an internship. So we are aware, we are working on it in terms of looking at various stakeholders and trying to facilitate conversations around creating more internship positions. But we also know that or we also encourage interns to take each and every opportunity that comes their way in terms of facilitating and finding an internship placement and not delaying their internship. But we have tried to make allowances for you to access a scope while awaiting to find an internship position. So we are working on it, we are aware, and we do hope that there are enough internship positions for all of the graduates this year.
Can you locum at pharmacies while doing a master's degree?
Yes, so you would be able to locum while completing your master's degree, provided you have registered as an academic intern. So you need to, so it's not that you're registered as a master's student, it's that you have registered as an academic intern, and then you would be allowed to locum. So please make sure that there is that distinction regarding locuming as an academic intern. You can't locum as a master's student without registering with Pharmacy Council. Okay.
I have already completed my annual declaration as a student, and it now says non-practicing, but I would want to update it after the first attempt.
Okay, but remember that at the moment, you are registering or completing it as an annual declaration as a student. And that's going to change because the information is going to change when you complete it as an intern. So it is different. It is the same, based on the same form, but it is going to, and it will allow you then to be practicing as an intern. So please just note that although you might have completed it this year, it is an annual declaration and you won't be able to complete your CPDs until you have finished your annual declaration.
Okay, Deanne, that seems to have been the last question. If there are any other questions from students, as Deanne has said previously, please visit our website and submit a request, and then a case will be created for the relevant department who will then contact you. Alternatively, contact us on social media at official SAPC or email customercare@sapc.za.org or give us a call on 0861 7272 00. There is one last question, Deanne. Once our academic internship is over, do we upload the proof of 400 hours onto the SAPC website once completed?
Okay, so the supervising pharmacist would be able to upload that information. It won't be uploaded by the intern. The only thing that is uploaded by the academic intern is the protocol as well as the achieved degree. So those are uploaded by the academic intern. The others are uploaded by the tutor or the supervising pharmacist. Okay, so I think we've come to the end. I don't know if there's any more questions, Natalie.
No, there's nothing more, Deanne.
Okay, so thank you very, very much for joining us tonight. Before you go, please make sure that you have completed our survey. We would like to have feedback from you, and we'd also like to know that you joined us tonight. So please make sure that you have taken the opportunity to complete this form. Secondly, as we have said, please make sure that you do communicate with us. And lastly, we would like to wish all of you the very best of luck for your upcoming examinations. And we look forward to welcoming you as interns in 2023. And if you need any help in the registration process, please make sure that you do ask us for that assistance. Thank you very much and good luck.